Okay, so what we're going to be looking at here is trying to find z-scores of percentage populations of minority groups in DC. And in my video, I am going to be comparing the Asian population of the DC metro area to the Black or African American population in the DC metro area based on the actual data from the 2000 census. Okay, so to start, I have here, all that they've given me is the total population and the minority population. So first thing I need to do is figure out the percent that that minority population is of my total population. So let's type that in, percent of total. So we're just going to type that in, create a new column. So to find that, all I have to do is equals, right, because I'm doing an equation, and I'm going to take my minority population and divide it by my total population. That will give me my percent of minority population. Now, mine already has a percent set up. Yours might not. And again, you're going to be looking at Hispanic and Native American populations. So again, mine already has the percent. Here's how I would do that. So for the entirety of column F, I want my numbers to be percent. So I'm going to highlight that, right-click, go to my Format Cells, and take a look at the number. Now I have percentage chosen, and I'm going to go to 2 decimal places. And it'll automatically convert whatever value you have in there to a percent. Now after I've done that, if you take a look, again, this is the census data, so I got a lot of stuff, and it goes all the way down to, what, not the thousands, but all the way down to 764. So yeah, I could click and drag this all the way down to 764, but if I want to find the percent of all of my data up to this, Excel's pretty smart. All you have to do is double click here. So get this smaller cross up, and then you double click, and it automatically does it for every single one. So as opposed to clicking and dragging, you can just double click and it'll automatically calculate it. For the entire row, now will it go all the way down? As you saw, I had some blanks down here. No, it stops when the numbers stop. Okay, so now I need to find my mean Asian percentage of population. So we're going to go to equals and find the average. And this, unfortunately, we need to click and drag. Oops. Go down to 304. Okay, and find the average. Now, to save time, once again, I changed this to a percent using the same technique as before. Now, to save time, I'm just going to copy this because I want to take the standard deviation of the same population. Make sure you press Enter here. If you click onto another cell, then it's going to change it. So press Enter. That gives me my mean percentage for all cities of their population being Asian. Now, for standard deviation, we hit equals, and you can probably guess that it's this stdev P or stdev S. We also have stdev A and PA. We're going to be using just these two in this class. And again, since this is census data, I'm going to assume that this is my entire population. I know it's not every single city, but it's a lot of them. So we're going to click here at P, saying that this is my population. So that's going to give me my sigma value. Okay, now I copied the data that I wanted before. As you can see, once I paste it, it highlights it for me, and just press Enter. And so my standard deviation percentage is 4.22%. Now, I want to find the DC percentage. So I'm going to click equal in here, just in case we want to change this. Maybe we get the data for the next census, and we just want to change the data in here. So I'm going to go to equals. Now, DC is somewhere in here. I could scroll down and look for it, or I can use Control F. Use Control F. That automatically brings up find, and I want to find DC. So I click find next. Whoops, there's one right there. Find next. Here it is. Looking at Asians, here's the DC, Virginia, Maryland, and West Virginia, the DC metro area. So I'm going to click on the percentage here. Close that now. And press enter. And it automatically brings me back up here, and that was the correct value. Now, to find the z-score, again, this is going to be a formula, so I put equals, and I want to take my DC percentage, oops, got to put it in parentheses, take my DC percentage minus the mean percentage divided by the standard deviation, because that's my z-score formula, right? Press enter, and it gives me my z-score value of 1.2. Once again, you might need to change this. This might have 2 decimal places is enough, so you can go back to format cells, number, and we want 2 decimal places. Okay. Now let's find the mean for African Americans. So again, I'm going to go to equals, average, and scroll down to where African Americans start, which is right here. Scroll down, capture all of that wonderful data, so much data. Imagine trying to do this by hand or in your calculator. Oh, miserable, right? So we find the average percent of total population, that's African American. We have to find that it's 10.96. I'm going to go in here, highlight this, copy it, press enter to get out, and then equals standard deviation of a population. Press enter and get my DC percentage. So Control F, find DC, next, that's the Asian one, and there's the African American one, so 31.26, close that, press enter, whoops, it told me I didn't actually get it. Alright, let's do that again. There we go, there is it. I accidentally hit a division sign, that's why I did it. Alright, that gives me my DC percentage, and to find the z-score, you can just type this in again. DC value minus the mean value divided by the standard deviation. Okay. And that gives us our z-score value. So as you can see, based on this, the z-score for Black and African Americans is higher than the z-score for Asians. Therefore, there is a larger percentage when compared to all other cities of Black African Americans than of Asians in the DC metro area. Hope you found this video helpful. Again, you're going to be doing the next one over here to answer your questions. Okay. So best of luck.